welcome back, children of the popcorn. It is I, Mr. Popcorn. Welcome back, Dorian. Thank you for joining us here this evening. And yeah, of course you are, because you came and saw the film with me.
Yes.
So shout out Wendy from Universal and shout out Christian as well. And yeah, we were gifted the fantastic opportunity to go see Companions. Not out yet, children. We got a sneak peek at it, yeah?
Mhm.
And it's coming out soon. It's when this is out, it's going to come out a couple of days
Mhm.
after. Yeah, basically on
Yeah.
the 30th. This will be out on the
Yeah.
29th. We're recording on the 28th. Okay. So yeah, just trying to think here, Dorian, what
Mhm.
type of film this is. I'm going
Oh.
to say, because this is important, because this drives
Mhm.
people to the
Yeah.
film. If you've seen the trailers, you've
Mhm.
already picked it up. One big aspect of this
Yeah.
film, but it's more than that, and it's very atypical of that style of film which we've seen in recent years. Since that, it's a burgeoning fear that is AI. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I say that this is an AI horror in part because you see it in the trailer, and that was the
Mhm.
director's intent to give it away early. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's not all he wants you to focus on, because this is basically about a woman existing or trying to get out of a toxic relationship. Yeah. That's the main
Yeah.
thrust of
Yeah.
this film, definitely. The
Mhm.
question is, who or what is more human than the other is what I also
Yeah.
liked about this film, because it
Yeah.
asked that question at the same time. Yeah. Yeah, so it's by Drew Hancock. It's called Companion. It is produced by Zach Kreger. I'm saying his name correctly.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Thank you. Mr. Barbarian, the man who put out Barbarian. If you're a horror
Yeah.
fan, you know exactly what that movie is. So let's get down to brass tacks, just general impressions, because if you don't want to spoil it, here's your general impressions. We're going to
Mm.
basically push as much as we can for you to go see this. We're going to try
Yes.
and be as little as be very careful about the spoilers. Try and give away as
Yeah.
little as possible. This isn't going to be a
Mm.
full plot breakdown or anything, because no one's had a chance to see it. Well,
Yeah.
very few
Mm.
of us have. Yes.
Yeah. And
Thank you, Wendy, again.
yeah, it's definitely something that the less you like, if all that you know about it is from the trailer, you don't know anything more, that's the best amount of information to have, nothing more than that.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because where the story goes, yeah, if you know anything more than what is revealed in the trailer, it's going to ruin it for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it will. It will, because the twists are the joy of
Mm.
this movie,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
the
mm.
shifts as well. The
Yeah.
tonal shifts are very cool. And it's got some big names in it there, Dorian. To your, well, as I'm looking at you, to your left is Sophie Thatcher.
Yes.
And a lot of people know who Sophie Thatcher is, whether you're into horror or not, because there's Yellow Jackets, there's Star Wars, and of
Mm.
course there was Heretic, one of my personal
Yeah.
faves of
Mm.
last year, which she absolutely
Yeah.
killed her role in it. Yeah. And then we have Mr. Nepo Baby Extraordinaire, Jack Quaid as
Yeah.
Joss, Sophie Thatcher as Iris. That's your couple. That's your
Yeah.
happy couple. Are you a fan of these people, of our two lead stars?
Um, I've seen Sophie Thatcher in more stuff than I've seen Jack Quaid. I don't watch The Boys, so all I know him from is Scream 5 and
Mhm.
this, and then like occasionally he'll show up on some kind of thing that Dead Meat is doing because I guess he's friends with them.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay,
that's
of course. Yeah.
him and not him like as an actor
Yeah, yeah,
in a
yeah, yeah,
role.
yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, like Sophie Thatcher. I watched Yellow Jackets from like when season one was still airing, and so I've loved
Same,
Sophie
same.
Thatcher
Yeah.
since then. Yeah,
Yeah, same. No, I'm a definite fan, and I'm very pleased she's gone into horror and she's doing really,
yeah,
really well. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
More of her, please. And Jack Quaid, I mean,
yeah,
yeah, yeah, you could hate him if you wanted to,
yeah,
but why?
yeah, yeah.
Because,
Oh,
he's very charismatic. He's got plenty of
mm,
riz.
yeah,
Meg Ryan's face, you are right.
yes,
I had a
yeah,
closer look
yeah,
today. You
yeah.
are right.
Every
If you
single
didn't,
time I look at
yeah.
him, I'm there like. God, he looks so much like his mum. You can't see that much Dennis Quaid in him,
Yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
you just see a lot more Meg Ryan than Dennis Quaid.
Hmm. Hmm. He kills it in The Boys, very similar character to
Yeah.
this. Yeah,
Mm.
I'm not, that's another conversation.
Yeah.
Lucas, oh, how do you say his name here as
Lucas
Patrick
Gage, yeah.
Gage? Thank you. Do you know him?
Um, Off the top of my head, I didn't, but then I had a look on his filmography, and he's Louis Frigoli from in Smile 2, apparently. The one who gives her, when she goes to get the painkillers that kicks the whole thing off for
Yeah, yeah,
her.
yeah, yeah. That's what I thought, Mr.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah.
him. And
Mr.
he's also
Hubcap.
in Euphoria, apparently.
Oh,
He's
he is too.
he's Tyler in Euphoria.
Yeah, he is.
And he's
Oh
in The
my
White
God.
Lotus as well, which I haven't watched, but
I haven't
yeah.
watched that. I haven't watched that. It's on the list. Okay. Interesting. Considering his character. Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we've got Megan Suri as Kat, Harvey Guillen as
Yeah.
Eli. A lot of people know
Who
this
everyone
person.
everyone knows him as Guillermo from What We Do in the Shadows.
There you go. Thank you. We have Rupert Friend. His last name is Friend. Are you kidding me?
Oh God.
No offense, sir. No offense. As
Oh God.
Sergey.
Sergey is so
Sergey.
good. That character in this movie is so good. When he appeared, like everyone in the audience just had a good laugh at him. Oh,
Mhm.
he's great.
Let's discuss more of him later because yeah,
Mm,
he's a lot. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, that's the cast. Okay, Zach Kreger. We've never covered it on the pod, so we'll just do it
Mm,
briefly. General opinion. Barbarian, because he's
mm,
the producer. He has helped
yeah.
make this film a
Yeah.
reality big time. Yeah. Yeah. Fan of Barbarian?
Yeah, yeah, I like it.
Nutshell thoughts?
I like the first, like however long the first lot goes for that has Bill Skarsgård in it.
Mm,
Um,
mm,
Up
mm.
until he gets killed. That is the story because they're essentially two different stories that are being told. I
Yeah.
like that story more than the one with Justin Long and everything that's going on with there because that's a little bit too ridiculous and goofy. Um,
Mhm, mhm.
the
I
beginning
don't
part of it
disagree.
is a lot more grounded in reality.
Tense
It's
and
a lot more, yeah, and
tense.
very,
Yeah.
very tense.
Mm.
Yes,
Yeah.
because you
Yeah.
don't know whether this guy's legit or if he's,
Mhm.
being a bit shifty. You don't know.
And
Yeah.
Skarsgård was the perfect person for that
Mm.
because you want to
Yes.
hang
Yes.
around him and talk to him, but
Mm.
that look in his eyes at the same
Yeah.
time,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
And then
genius,
also like this
genius.
was, yeah, relatively shortly after it. So people just in their
Mhm.
head, they're like, that's Pennywise.
Of course, yeah,
So
absolutely. Good
that
point.
probably
Yeah, good
contributed.
point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I rewatched it for this, and yeah, much
Yeah.
better the second time round. Like
Mm.
it was far more cohesive for
Yeah.
me. Yes, reading
Yeah.
it definitely. Still wacky moments, which are a bit kind of
Yeah.
and I do
Yeah.
agree with you. The first part is far more effective. He's doing the new Resident Evil movie. That
Oh,
news has
cool.
just dropped. As Kreger, that's his next project. Yeah,
I see.
slated 2026. Okay, and Drew Hancock. Okay, he's kind of new to the scene. This guy's a writer, does a lot of spec scripts for people. He'll punch up Netflix shows, that sort of
Oh,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
This movie came to him, the log line came to him in the middle of
Mm.
the night, divine inspiration style. Yeah.
Yeah. As they
Uh,
always do.
as they always do. He went through many other kind of variations on the idea and it became different ideas, etc. He pitched a few of these other ideas to a producer, but also this one, as you do, just in case. And she said, yeah, no, the first one is the best. Go back to
Mm.
that. He has done a lot of kind of like long, deep contemplation, which in hindsight you could have just said yes from the beginning, but he's fine with that because this is
Mm.
a meditative creative process as film. You've got to
Mm.
muse on these things, mull them over. Zach Kreger was slated to direct to begin
Mm.
with for about 5 to 6 weeks. Um, but this guy as you can see in the film, spoilers, go away now if you don't want to know any more. Come back once out. Yeah, he is like Wes Anderson in terms of
Mm,
attention to detail. And when he was putting the screenplay together for this, and with the note cards, he's very into his note cards. He would do all the blocking. He would do all the camera shots
mm,
as well as the character motivation and all of that sort of thing. Yeah, he would
yeah.
do everything. That's just how he is. He's quite obsessive when he really gets into something. And Zach looked at his work and he kept seeing how it was developing. He was like, dude,
Mm,
you're basically putting this film together as a
yeah.
director. You need
Mm,
to direct this. He freaked out, but then said, yes, I'm going to do it. And Zach Krieger's had his back. I think he's slated as executive producer for this one. And yeah, and it came, and that's how it came to be, basically, in a nutshell. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, General thoughts. What did we reckon?
I like it. I like it. The overall like look of it and feel, and then also like because it is quite funny as well.
Yeah.
And just yeah, visually how it looks, it doesn't feel completely serious. It is like funny and a little bit like, oh, okay, like this isn't reality. So then when things go off the wall, like some weird stuff happens and it gets a little bit crazy, you just go along
Hmm.
for the ride because here's all this crazy technology happening. Like, here's this robot that exists and it's just a normal thing. People aren't like, oh my God, look at this new technology. They're just, yep,
Hmm.
that's a
Hmm.
thing.
Hmm.
And yeah, and it's funny. The
Yeah, it
movie's
is
really
funny.
funny.
Hmm.
But
And I
then
like,
some of the stuff that
sorry,
happens in the movie is really fucking dark.
the gore pronounces
Mm.
itself when it comes
Yeah.
out. Yeah,
Yeah.
it
And there's a scene,
pronounces
yeah, there's
itself.
a scene towards the end that's very reminiscent of a domestic violence
Yeah,
situation.
yeah,
Straight
yeah.
up domestic violence.
In a real
But
way,
then
in a
this
real
movie's
way.
really funny. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Really good at keeping you in the story, in the world.
mm,
Pretty much a single location horror,
yeah,
if you would,
yeah,
as well. So that
yeah,
keeps it even more contained and it's grounded. There's a sense of
mm,
realism to this
yeah,
because the technology, as you're pointing out there, because of
mm,
just that everyday acceptance matter of rote
yeah,
way of, treating it, using it, allows you to focus more on like what the characters are going through.
mm,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
definitely. Which is very clever, and but it's not too, and it's also it's not cold. It's also quite pretty to look at, and there are those
yeah,
funny, quite a few funny moments, which keeps you engaged. It keeps a general audience engaged because we saw it largely with the general audience all dressed up and
yeah,
taking photos, and we're like,
yeah,
huh?
yeah, yeah,
And they were
yeah,
just there guffawing,
mm.
guffawing. One
Yeah,
guy
yeah. There was
guffawing
one
to the
guy who was
end.
laughing his head off super loud at the slightest thing. I'm there thinking, nothing has happened. Why are you laughing right now?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
But I
yeah.
mean, he obviously had a good time watching it.
Yeah, absolutely. And most people have. This has got great reviews. It's sitting
Mm,
pretty much 7 out of 10, 70%
yeah,
out of 100 across the board,
mm, yeah,
which is really cool. And so thank you to Zach Krieger again, because Barbarian hadn't quite come out yet when he and Drew
mm,
met to discuss this.
mm,
And he was looking for his new project. So he went to Boulder Light and Vertigo, the production companies, and basically demanded that they fund this, that they greenlight
yeah,
this. Yeah. So, and he's doing a new Resident Evil movie. It's time we had another good one of
yeah,
those. Yeah. Or
yeah.
an actual really good one just once.
uh,
Yeah. So
I've
shout out
seen
Zach.
I've seen
Shout
all
out
the
Zach.
Resident Evil
Yeah.
movies. I'll end up watching that one.
Oh, same. Yeah, I'll watch it as well. I'll watch it. I just want moments like the crows from part three in
Oh
there.
yeah.
Yeah, I
Oh,
just
that
want
scene was so
moments like
cool.
that. Yeah, because there was always moments in those early films,
Mm,
definitely.
yeah.
Yeah, so those are the two production companies. Now, it was shot in upstate New York, single location. Um, but the general genre tagging is that this is a horror film, and if you want to
Mm,
subgenre
yeah.
it in 2025, it's an AI horror. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Megan for adults, one could say. We'll get into
Yeah.
that. Yeah, it's but it also has Blade Runner philosophies to it. I'm going to say and throw it out there, which I
Yeah.
absolutely loved as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, okay, so in terms of inspiration, you could definitely throw out the Stepford Wives. Everyone has thus
Yeah.
far.
Yeah.
Look behind you. Their children look behind Dorian. Yeah.
Yeah.
Drew said not intentionally, but
Mm.
probably in the back of the
Yeah.
mind, the subconscious, it happens. Yeah. Um, Now, when this I found interesting because I've tried to write these and kind of have written these before. When you're writing screenplays, you immerse yourself in an action film if you're trying to write an
Mm.
action film, yeah, etc. An action screenplay,
Mm.
horror if you're trying to write a horror. He does the contrast, yeah.
Yeah.
For this, he'll just like if he's doing a horror, he'll do an action. He didn't say what he was watching in
Mm.
contrast to this. I don't know, things like The Whale.
No.
Ultra sad movies. I don't know. But yeah, I just found that interesting because
Mm.
most just do immerse themselves in that. And
Yeah.
that's where we get these points of contrast and these weird, oh, it's a pretty movie with dark
Mm.
domestic stuff going on
Yeah.
and these weird tonal shifts. So I like this guy Drew, is what I'm getting at. This guy
Mm.
Drew, I think he has absolute potential. The fight scenes, you're talking about the fight scenes
Mm.
at the end there.
Yeah.
There's a Soderbergh movie called Haywire he referenced. I haven't
Mm.
seen it, but apparently there's an iconic domestic fight
Ah.
scene in that
Yeah.
movie. Yeah. He wanted to strip the movie of typical sci-fi tropes. That
Mm.
strengthens your point
Yeah.
of just accepting it. This is how we do it
Yeah.
now, just like our smartphones. Yeah.
Mm.
And in the 80s, we would have freaked out about these things,
Yeah.
trust
Yeah.
me. Yeah. This is not a robot. This is a woman going through a toxic relationship. That's verbatim. This is Marriage Story, not
Mm.
Minority Report. This is
Yeah. Yeah.
this is
Mm.
grounding his motivations during pre-production. He wanted to be grounded but not cold. Iris is more human than the humans. From Megan to Blade Runner. What did you do you agree with
Mm.
me there, Dorian, that it
Yeah.
had that
Yeah.
element to it? Yeah,
Yeah.
cool, cool. And so I gave this film, even with the goofiness at times, definitely a sense of poetry to it,
Mm.
I thought, at the end. Um,
Yeah.
I was all about Iris.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was all about Iris. And
Yeah.
originally, it was just going to be an AI goes rogue, kills everyone film.
Mm. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm really glad he
No.
switched it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
This
this
one's
is
a lot, yeah, that's a lot better. And like the reason for why she is behaving violently, like again, that is just, it's not because of AI robot thing, it's because of a toxic relationship.
It's because of the humans in this
Yeah.
film. Yeah, it's because of the humans, even this film, even with Patrick. We won't say what
Mm.
happens to him,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
Yeah.
some tragic poetry there
Oh,
as well.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, really want to say more.
Mm.
Really want to
Yeah.
say
Yeah.
more. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
even
Ultimately, the most sympathetic characters in this, are the ones that are robots. The
Hmm.
robot characters, they are the most sympathetic ones. They're the ones that you genuinely care about and care for. I mean, there's
Hmm. Hmm.
one or two others that, that people that you're like, oh, I like them. But ultimately, yeah, the ones who actually are these sympathetic characters and not the humans.
No, no. And oh, yes, and when you discover that all the humans are Dodge, spoiler.
Mm,
But we start with Sergey being Dodge,
mm,
but he is
yeah.
such a cartoon, you
Yeah,
know?
it's a caricature.
It's a
He's a
definite
caricature.
caricature. Again, if I
And
was
that's
Serbian, I
what
could
made
be
his character
offended.
so, yeah, that's what made his character so funny. That's why the moment everyone saw him, we just laughed because he's such a caricature.
But it's kind of pulling the wool over our eyes at the
Mm,
start because the
yeah,
people that we
yeah.
think are lovely, it's
Mm,
like,
yeah, yeah.
okay, oh, really, them? Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
So he's got a good and the way he shifts tonally and with the big reveals, yeah,
yeah.
the thematic reveals. Um, uh, sorry, what was my point? What was my point? When we the way that he's able to basically pull the wool over the eyes with the characters and the strange tonal shifts that he has, going from brutal gore back to comedy and vice versa.
Mm,
Yeah. And makes the reveals effective, even though they're obvious from the start.
yes,
Is that fair
yes.
to say? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Thank you. Thank
yeah,
you.
yeah. Yeah, the
Okay.
reveals are very obvious.
Hmm.
But when the reveals do happen, it still feels satisfying. Even though you
Yeah.
knew,
Yeah.
like there was some stuff where, certain characters, the moment I saw them, I knew exactly what the deal was with them. So when that
Hmm.
reveal happened,
Hmm.
I was just like, yeah, cool. Like hell
Yeah.
yeah. Like I was
Yeah.
happy to see that, not in a satisfied, oh yes, I was right kind of way, but in a yes, this makes sense for everything because I've been watching it with that
Hmm.
mentality of I bet you this is what's going on with that character and watching it and seeing everything that is
Hmm.
backing up what it is I'm thinking and then to have
Hmm.
that confirmed, it's like good, it's consistent.
Absolutely. And this is interesting because, you're a film literate, media literate,
Mm.
smart and general person watching this film. We watched it with a general audience
God.
who were surprised at the
Oh my
obvious
God,
reveals,
the
which the director
gasp. It
had
was
already laid
oh,
out. Yeah.
it was such a massive gasp. And I turned to you and I'm like, why is everyone so surprised? What is going on?
But I think he's laid it out in a way with his note
Mm,
cards to allow people like you to have that pleasure,
yeah,
that
yeah,
cerebral pleasure of going, yeah,
yeah,
putting the pieces, seeing the pieces
yeah.
put together.
Mm,
And then the big reveals, which basically reveal more about the character's morality
mm,
within this situation, which
yeah,
strengthens the overall moral and ethical points based on the very strong punch you in the face themes, yeah, as the film develops. I think he's laid that out for the general audience as
mm,
well. So
yeah,
those effects work for them with that purpose in mind. Yeah. It's pretty smart. It's pretty
yeah.
smart. Yeah, it's pretty fucking smart, actually. Um, I really like this. Yeah, this has
Mm,
grown on me. This has grown on me since I've seen it. I'll definitely be maybe see it again, but definitely
mm,
watch it on streaming. Go see it at the
yeah,
cinema though, because this is not a
yeah.
bad January horror film.
No,
Yes, I
no.
argue this has broken that curse for
Mm,
2025. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
thankfully we got it in time.
I saw some
Uh,
people saying, why is this a January release? This would be a perfect Valentine's Day movie. And it would be. It would be a good Valentine's horror film.
it would,
We got
absolutely. You
Hard
are
Eyes
right. Yeah,
instead. So
we got
I'm
hard
looking forward
eyes
to Hard
instead.
Eyes, but
Okay. I just wanted to say this quickly. When I was talking about being an AI rogue film, what
mm.
changed his mind was Sophie Thatcher.
Oh, cool.
Absolutely seeing her play, and he goes, "Oh,
Yeah.
no, 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 no. I see how there can be a softness here as
Yeah.
well, a humanity to this as
Mm.
well." And she was talking to him how there could be stronger themes based on,
Yeah.
a more of a female perspective and as what is it to be human kind of idea.
Mm.
And bada boom, yeah. So she's
Yeah.
good. She's good. Yeah, I really wanted to mention that. The blood and the gore, I said it was pronounced.
Mm.
you'll find this great there, Dorian. Drew said he's desensitized to violence. He didn't find
Yeah.
this a lot at all. And when the test
Yeah.
screenings came out, and people were like, oh, it was like,
Uh,
oh, okay, sorry. Sorry. I just thought, okay.
yeah.
What did you think? What
That's
did you think?
something, yeah, that sounds like something I do.
Yeah, yeah. That's
Yeah,
why I
I liked
reminded me.
it. There
Yeah,
was there was a
it
bit
popped.
where yeah, when the cop gets his face smashed in, and I was really disappointed that they didn't show us. But then they
Mhm,
showed later on. So I'm like,
mhm,
okay, good. I would have
mhm.
been so mad if they didn't show us any of that.
And the violence is in
Mm,
line
yeah.
thematically with what's
Mm,
going on as well, which gives
yeah.
it that extra kind of, yeah,
Mm,
certainly
yeah.
as we get near the end. Yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
yeah, yeah, yeah. The acting's good
yeah.
when it gets to that point. Yeah, have to go see it. You have to go see it. Okay, and he wanted the blood and the gore to pop, yeah,
Mm,
to be have a sense of fun, to seem to come out of nowhere as well as being, emotionally effective at the end.
yeah.
But one where she comes out the reveal of like the blood
Yeah. Yeah. All over it. Yeah.
necklace that she has,
Yeah. Yeah.
and also to be like when you first see Josh's orgasm face.
Oh God. That's
That's
the
from the
ultimate
director.
jump scare. That's
It
the
was.
ultimate jump scare.
That was the biggest.
Jesus Christ.
Mm. Yeah, yeah.
Oh my God,
So
that was
yeah,
so
this film is
funny.
funny. This film is definitely funny, but serious at the same time. And
Mm,
I think, generally speaking, you're going to be freaked out by this film. Yeah,
yeah.
I get the general impression. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So here's a little anecdote from Drew. You'll appreciate. Yeah, Dorian talking about the audience reacting to the
Mm,
reveals. One of the spec scripts. They were actually came into a test screening. Yeah. Uh, when she walks down to the lake and Josh is watching her, he's
yeah.
got his phone. He presses a button and she
Mm,
twitches. After that, when go to sleep, Iris, clunk,
mm,
they were still, oh, he's pressing a button, she's twitching. And it's like, okay. He had to really, because he had a few test screenings, because he really had to
yeah.
map this out, how to this
Like
for it to work
when
for everyone.
when he had that phone and he went and like plugged something into it, I'm instantly like, oh, he's jailbreaking her.
Oh yeah, when you saw
because
the
I
thing in the
because I know
suitcase with the
technology.
USB,
Yeah,
the
yeah,
USB.
because that it like zooms in on it and with
Yeah.
this like in a way that like the score gets kind of menacing and just the
hmm
way I'm like, okay, this is
Focus.
clearly something ominous.
Yeah.
What is it? What is the significance of it?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I know I understand technology, how technology works, and I've seen a decent amount of sci-fi stuff that like any of the technology related stuff in this movie. Yeah, I knew what was going on.
A question was posed by, I think it was Eric Kane and Rebecca McKendry on the Colors of the Dark podcast under Fangoria. Go check it out, because this is an interview where I got some of these highlights from
Mm.
for our
Yeah.
podcast today. Must shout them out, and it's really good insight to how we really came to create this film. Elric asked the question: was it Sophie that caused the surprise still in the general audience, sorry, in the test screenings?
Oh,
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
She is good,
Yeah.
and she has
Yeah.
that presence about her.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think part of it is that up until this point, when you do have those kinds of robot AI type characters, there still is something about them that indicates that they aren't human. And for the character of Iris, played by Sophie, there's nothing about her that is in any way, shape, or form artificial in terms of like her how she looks, how she acts, all that kind of stuff. Like even just like her mannerisms, her speech patterns, body language, all that kind of stuff is very, very human and very much like I'm hanging out with my boyfriend's friends who I'm kind of awkward about, and we're spending the entire weekend just with them, and I don't really know them all that well, and I don't think they like me, and they all have this shared history together, and so I'm sitting here feeling awkward and wanting to be involved, but also like I don't know what if I'm doing the right thing or not, and
It's a relatable
that's a very
scenario.
human thing
Yeah.
to be doing and feeling. And
hmm
you wouldn't have a robot or an AI or something like that being portrayed as behaving in that kind of way and so convincingly. Because I mean, as far as she knows, as far as
Mm,
she knows,
mm,
she is just
yeah,
she's the same as
yeah,
any as them.
yeah, yeah, which was an interesting element as
Mm,
well. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. When they have to question their own identity,
Mm,
shall we say.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I didn't feel alienated in this film because there are strong feminist themes,
Mm,
yes, and
yeah.
messages, and very well
Yeah.
put, needed to say points. Absolutely. Not that I feel alienated when these
Yeah.
things come up in movies, but it is a thing that is thrown out there
Yeah.
as a critique.
Mm,
And I don't think this film, as I stated, with how it's for the general audience and for the
mm,
the horror fans and film theory people, etc. I think he's structured in a way not to alienate either, because the
mm,
visceral themes of the domestic abuse, the toxic
yeah.
relationship, is shown very much
Mm,
in a realistic way,
yeah.
grounded way. And
Mm,
then you have the more metapoetical themes of who is more human,
yeah.
what does it mean to be human? And
Mm,
I felt they're not alienated because of that, because this is a
yeah.
question for humanity, not just for genders in a
Yeah.
relationship. So
Yeah.
fair to
And I
say,
think
yeah.
also, yeah, I think also because of the way that that whole dynamic develops over the course of the movie, it isn't like right from the
Mm,
start,
mm,
this is like
mm.
what's happening
Absolutely.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
So by the
Oh,
time it gets to that
yeah.
point where
Nice.
it's like this character is just sprouting words that you would find on like incel subreddits practically. Um by the time it gets to that point, um you're already sort of like that character sort of their behavior has gradually developed to that point. And so it doesn't feel like, oh, you're pushing an agenda. It's just, yeah, this is who the character actually is. This is
Yeah.
who they are, and
Yeah.
everything that
Yeah.
they have been presented as and how they've behaved in the lead up to this just kind of lends itself to, yeah, that's you're right. That is exactly who this person is.
Yeah, exactly. And so by the time you get the yellow jacket's jacket on and you've got the robot hand out, you're like, yes,
Yeah,
go
yeah.
you, girl.
So,
Good for you.
oh, it's such a satisfying ending.
It really is. But that's enough for now, I
Mm,
think. Yeah, that's enough
yeah,
for now.
yeah,
Again, thank you, Wendy. Thank you, Christian.
yeah,
Thank you, Universal. Great opportunity. Very chuffed. Thank you, Dorian. Couldn't think of anyone better
yeah.
to come and discuss this film with me. So really appreciate. And there will be more, absolutely. And because we could be discussing films, I don't know how up for it you are, non-horror, because Universal does other films.
Yeah.
So yeah, yeah. Yeah, so you could have us discussing a romantic comedy.
Oh,
Hilarious.
oh,
Hilarious.
yeah,
Imagine
that would be fun.
the premiere for those things. Brilliant. But yeah, no, really like this film, and I'm going to throw it out there now that I've broken it all down for myself, speaking it out loud. It's a 4 out of 5. It's
Yeah,
delicious.
yeah.
Definitely, definitely go see it, children. What do you think, Dorian?
Um, I straight after seeing the movie, I rated it a 3.5.
Mhm.
But it's a very, very high 3.5.
Yeah, okay. Somewhere
Yeah,
between 3.5 and 4.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And 3.5 is a very strong. Yeah, you're looking at like, around
yeah.
about
That's a
roughly
7 out of 10. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, so it's 67 to
mm,
72%, somewhere around
yeah,
there. Yeah,
yeah,
which is generally what this film is getting at the
mm,
moment. People
yeah,
really like this. This is worth seeing. Go see it so we can get more decent January films and we can
yes,
continue a
yes,
new year of horror. Because there's stuff coming.
yeah. Oh,
There's
I'm so
such,
excited.
yeah. Well, we've got to do an episode
Yeah,
of that, of stuff coming. Yeah,
mm,
because
yeah.
there's a lot of news, a lot of
There's a lot.
news. We've got more stuff coming as always, but we're just focusing on Universal now. Go see Companion. Absolutely. Would
Yes,
you agree, Dorian?
yes, absolutely.
Indeed. Good night, children of the popcorn. Pleasure as always. More horror soon. Good night, Dorian. Pleasure as
Good
always. Thank you.
night.
Oh, I love it when you're evil. This is me at my most evil. Do your evil laugh.